Hey everybody, welcome to Local Business Hacks Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Case, and I'm on a mission to help you. Every week, we're going to be talking to local business owners and experts to get their best tips, tricks, and hacks to grow your business. This show is designed to teach you, inspire you, and motivate you to take massive action and start to build your future-proof business. Whether you're just starting off or you're taking your existing business to the next level, this episode is for you. So let's get started. Good morning, listeners. I am super stoked to have my old Orangetheory Fitness franchisee, Manny Ceara, calling in from local Boca Raton, Florida. Manny, welcome to the podcast. Please share your story. It's pretty incredible.
Well, first of all, Carl, big, huge thank you to you. Thanks for the invite. Thrilled to be here, man. And I don't know what it is, man. I love these things. I love giving back. I love talking about our game because, as you know, Carl, sales is a contact sport. So that is our game, and we're gonna play it pretty hard, right? Leave it all on the field. But I think the first thing I want to talk about is my story, man. I'm proud of my story and why we're even talking. There's a reason why I'm here, and let me start off with the very, very, very beginning. And a lot of the people in my circle know my story, but a lot of people don't. So I started with Orangetheory Fitness. We're going back now 2012.
Wow.
I was a studio manager, SM for short, of a little studio in Weston, Florida, right down the street here, number 0008. So if you're doing like the whole numbers game with the franchise and the license numbers, number 8, my friend. So I'm what they call an OOG, an original orange gangster. But that gave me a lot that other people didn't have. That we were so early in the game, we were still figuring things out, but I was able to go on site in a studio, learn the game, learn the model, put my spin on things, and do very, very, very well. The good news about being in Orangetheory such a long time ago, because we were very, very small. We had about 20, 25 studios network wide. So if you made the right kind of noise, the right people were listening. And that's exactly what happened to me. So a year after my studio manager experience, I walk up to my current franchisee. Her name is, let's call her Andy. Actually, her name is Andy. I'm not protecting her name for any reason. Just so you know. I said, Andy, wonderful woman, great time with her. I said, Andy, listen, we've done a lot of nice things here in Weston. I want to buy in. I want to be an owner. I was 20 something. I was like, hey, maybe this is my thing, right? She said no. And mind you that at that time, I was one of the top managers in the network. I mean, number 1, number 2, number 3. And here I am coming to a franchisee saying, hey, let me partner. Let's do this together. Let's build. Let's grow. Let's do this. But I want to be I want to be on the plane, not on the wing. So she said no to me. She said no. And, looking back at it now, that I think that was one of my big moments in my career that I thought to myself, I'm better than this. I deserve more. I can do more. And very, very powerful moment for me. So look, hey, if you're listening right now, if you have a Manny in your studio, in your business, and they come to you with that comment, you should listen.
Oh, yeah.
Because Manny's don't grow on trees. Manny's do not grow on trees. I'm telling you. So, and especially now with the recruiting that's another conversation. So fast forward a couple of weeks, Carl, I wake up one day, I said, you know what? That's it. I walk right up to Andy. We sit down at a table. I'll never forget it. We sit down in front of a table. I think it wasn't a Starbucks. It was a coffee shop nearby. I said, Andy, I got to talk to you. I think this is it. I want more. I want to fly higher. I want to do more. This is it for me here at this studio. Carl, have you ever heard of an audible gulp before?
No.
Like when you swallow hard and everybody
Yes.
hears it, an audible
Yes.
gulp. That I heard my first real audible gulp in that meeting. Andy was not happy. She was not excited about that announcement. She was supportive to a degree, but she knew what was coming. I was leaving. The business I built with her was going to run fine, but it wasn't going to do this. It was just going to, just do what it was doing. So just before I took a general manager job at 24-Hour Fitness right down the street, I got the call that changed my life. My dear friend, our fearless leader, our co-founder, CEO, Dave Long, before I took the job, before I closed the door at Orangetheory and left for 24, Dave gave me a call, said, hey, time out. Before you leave, come on in. I have some ideas. Let's talk. Little did I know that 20-minute conversation with Dave would literally map out the next 10 to 12 years of my career. That's another lesson. My friends, take the call.
Yeah.
Don't ever close doors. Don't ever think you know more than everybody else. Take the call. Take the coffee. Take the meeting. You never know what's going to happen. And if you don't take the call or the coffee or the meeting, you'll never know.
I have goosebumps just knowing where your future went. So I'm excited for everyone else to hear.
Yeah. And that was it. So I go into Dave, first time meeting Dave Long, right? DL, he's on the TV shows and all of that. I mean, he deserves what he's getting, man. I love the guy, one of my best friends, mentors. I go in there and I sit there with Dave for the first time, and we're talking, in Dave's style, and we're just getting to know each other. But long story short, we just get down to the nitty gritty, and I'm like, hey, Dave, how can I help? What's the next project? He's like, yeah, Manny, look, I had this little thing called Central Florida. We want to, me and Jerome, our other co-founder, we want to go up there and start Orangetheory, and I want you to be the guy. So within a few minutes, I'm transitioning from one studio manager in 0008 to partnering with two of the founders of the brand, becoming an area developer for Central North Florida. Just like that. So I'm glad I took the call.
That's awesome.
So yeah, brother. And I mean, it gets better. I'll keep it quick enough so people can, have fun with it, but there's a lot more. But I'll keep it quick. So the next thing was, okay, I pack up my girlfriend, who was then my fiance, who's my wife now. So that worked out pretty well. And my little puppy, Sebastian, my little Yorkie, we packed up and we drove up to Orlando, Florida, not knowing what the hell was going on, not knowing what. All we knew of Orlando was, hey, there's a couple of fun parks over there. That's kind of cool. Mickey Mouse is over there. What Orlando? But boy, do not sleep on O-Town, man. O-Town is a fun town. And it was awesome for us personally as a family, and it was amazing for the brand. I'm thrilled to say that during my time as an area developer with Dave and Jerome, we must have opened together. We opened 3 corporate studios that I personally managed and led. And we must have opened around 25, 30 units together, and where my responsibility was not only managing and leading our corporate owned studios, but also supporting the franchisees and their studios. I'm very proud of a couple of things that I was able to work on. One of the biggest things was pre-sales. I'm going to toot my own horn here. I am very confident in my pre-sale strategy and my know-how. I am a pre-sale master. Yes, I can pre-sell with the best of them. So my first studio, we had a category in Orangetheory, the 500 Club. First studio out of the gates, Orangetheory Colonial, very dear to me. My first Orlando studio, 500 Club, very successful. Then we opened up Winter Park, Altamont Springs, and the rest is history. Had a blast doing it. And again, personally, Orlando was great for me and my family, and we had a great time. All because I took the call.
Amazing. And
then fast forward a little bit, 3.5 years, my project, my mission was accomplished, so to speak, right? And I called Dave. It was my turn to call Dave at that point. Said, Dave, the boxes are checked, mission accomplished. I want to come home. Is there any way I can come home and still be with the brand and do something? And in true Orangetheory fashion, how fast we were growing, how special we are, and Dave, who he is, he's like, grab the U-Haul, make the calls, come home. And Carl, again, life is amazing, and the universe listens. As I'm coming back home from Orlando, victorious, is coming in as like a Caesar after a big battle, coming down and coming back to the office. There wasn't really a position with my name on it, so to speak, but they were building one. Wouldn't you know it? They needed someone with field experience, sales knowledge, pre-sale experience, energy for days, and they needed someone to fill the national director of sales and operations.
What better guy?
Carl, I don't know if I can write a better chapter than that. I mean, it was just perfect timing. So I come in and I am the national director of sales for the brand. I'm on screen. I'm doing our national webinars. I'm traveling across the country. I'm launching studios. I'm building learning and development modules and content for the brand. All along focusing on what near and dear to my heart is sales, the sales model of Orangetheory. I'd like to say I didn't invent the Orangetheory sales model, but I damn near perfected it with the help of our team. So so that's my position. And I was in the corporate office. I worked my way up to senior director of sales and operations for the brand. Took me 3 years or so. And all along then, Carl, I think another fun fact for your fans and the listeners is I'm not only national, I'm international. I actually was on the lead team for our first ever international summits for Orangetheory, the brand. We went to Sydney, Australia, London, England. We went out there to share what we had because everybody needed it. So that was a blast.
Out of curiosity, what was the studio number count from when you started in Orlando, when you left Orlando, when you became national sales director, when you left, when you got promoted inside of that, just to show the scale of what Orangetheory was going through when you were there, because there was a massive expansion that happened during that time.
I don't remember the record, but we must have opened like 30 a month. Or something, there might have been a week that we came close, but I think the big numbers you're looking for is like from then till now. I think in my 10-year span, or even my 7.5-year span with corporate or in the brand, in the field and corporate, we must have gone from 22 to over 1,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
And nobody does that. Nobody does that. And nobody will appreciate the speed of the game, man. When we were in the office, me and Paul and some of the other players in there and the things that we were doing together, I got to tell you, it was a special time in that office. And I'm so grateful to have been a part of it.
Yeah. I personally believe that Orangetheory was the brand that pioneered what is now boutique fitness, because, you had in your local markets, Joe Schmo's personal training studio where he's charging $500 to $5,000 a month, and you're coming in. And now, when you think about boutique fitness, all these other brands that have stemmed are dying for that hyper growth stage that Orangetheory experienced. So congrats, Manny. That's so cool. Keep going with your story. Obviously this transitioned into.
It did. So I had an opportunity, and I think this ties into what we're going to be talking about today, because this is like real life business ownership management now, not then. So after all the high flying fun, another thing I'm very proud of, I didn't mention, is I was also privileged to be a part of every national summit and convention we had for the brand. I was one of the presenters every year since 2013. And that to me was some of the best moments of my career, because that was when I knew I was good at what I was doing, but I also knew I was good at telling the stories and also sharing and delivering impactful lessons that people can just grasp, get, and go. Go back to your studios, take the nuggets, apply, not everything at once, because that's a mistake, but take this, take that, and slowly build in. And I'm very happy I'm very grateful that I had that stage, because I like to think I used it well.
It had to be so cool, you know, watching from being in a room with 100 people in it at your national summit to that just growing and doubling and tripling every year to where you guys probably needed a convention center to hold it at the end.
We did.
Yeah, that's so cool.
We did. My first breakout ever, I had maybe about, I don't know, 50 people or so. The last time we had a full convention, I mean, thousands of people, I had a waiting list to come into my room, and I must have sold out my breakout 250, 300 in that room. And it was awesome. Anyway, so turn the page. So when I got to the end of my corporate career with Orangetheory, senior director of sales for the brand, I said, you know what? Something came to me. I wasn't really looking for it, but I took the call. I took the call. And it was a buddy of mine who was a principal owner of 5 local studios here in my backyard. And I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe this is the end of my corporate career. Maybe. I always wanted to turn ownership mentality into ownership reality. It's been one of my dreams. I wanted to always put what I knew to play for myself. And my buddy locally gave me the chance to do that. So I turned the page on Orangetheory Corporate. I said my farewell. Very tearful moment for me personally. And it was a growing moment for me personally. And then I took the leap. I took the jump. And I became an owner, operator, managing partner for 5 studios here in our backyard, one of your studios here in Boca. And this is when it gets good for the listeners, because I only had 4 months of ownership in Orangetheory without a pandemic.
So November 2019.
Great, yeah, end of 19. Great 4 months. I was doing what I knew I could do. I know the numbers were showing, the team was ready. It was a warm welcome. Everything was lining up perfectly. And if the pandemic never happened, who knows where I'd be. But it happened. And I got to tell you, Carl, we closed. I'll never forget it, because the birth of my daughter actually was the day before the world shut down. So I know it vividly. It was yesterday. From March 21st, when we closed, to a little bit later, I forgot exactly how long we were closed for. Those were some of the most challenging moments, weeks, minutes of my life. Not knowing what was going to happen next, even for you, for anybody. Like, nobody knew. Like, can I go outside my house? What's going to happen to boutique fitness? What's going to happen to fitness? Like, what now? So very nerve-wracking, but my partner and I, we banded together. We did what we could to keep the staff happy, motivated, and engaged. And we reopened. And since we reopened, Carl, it has not been the same business. Nothing's the same. Nothing. And we were kind of gaining traction. I learned many lessons during that path, which we can talk about. But then this is going to culminate to my decision now. So I put there's a saying in sports, which is kind of fun. It's NFL kickoff tonight. So
go Bills.
Oh, okay. Go Bills for you. Go Broncos for me.
Okay. That's
Monday night. But there's a saying in sports, leave everything on the field.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, before you make any decisions with your life, your career, and whatever your focus is, give it your all, man. Leave everything on the field so you can never, ever feel regret. Yeah. I don't. I feel zero regret with this transition, this much. Because I know that the days, the nights, the overnights, the pressure, the stress, everything I had on me, I put everything I had into these 5 studios. And you know something? A lot of things went right and a whole lot of things went left. I mean, a lot. I learned a lot of things about myself personally, my leadership skills, my entrepreneurial skills, my sales skills, my energy, my passion, my focus. Like, what is Manny about? And I learned like who I am and what I want to do. And I know in my heart that this chapter is closed. That's why, for anybody listening, I am exiting my Orangetheory studios. We sold the studios. We're wrapping up the last one, hopefully this week or next week. And that's where I am now. So I'm going to, my goal is to take my last 10, by the way, that's only Orangetheory. I've done more things. I was a personal trainer, all that. But I'm going to take the last 10, 12 years of my fitness career. And right now I want to give back. So my new venture, until my other projects line up, is I want to be a game-changing consultant. I want to talk to people that are in this world that want to learn from someone who's already done it, who's been in an office that went from 22 to 1,200, and who is willing to be humble enough to listen and learn. And here I am. I'm ready for it.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
That's my story.
That's so awesome. And get to focus on what's on your shirt, which is, the most important gift that we could ever get.
Right there. It is my next official position. Well, I shouldn't say that. I took the position the day she was born, as you know. But I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to take a couple weeks, a few weeks, and I want to be a full-time dad. I want to be a dad. I want to, she's only 2.5. I want to be with her and, feel that, and be a dad for a little while before my next projects line up, which they already are. But I also, during that time, in case you haven't noticed, this is decaf coffee. I'm naturally caffeinated, so I can't slow down too much. So, but I definitely want to be able to give back and help. And game-changing consultant is my new title, and I'm very confident that I can do that.
That's amazing. I believe in you too. And for those of you listening, Manny's shirt says "Girl Dad."
Oh, that's right. That's my new brand. It's my new brand.
So, Manny, obviously you've learned so many lessons. I have a million questions, but for our time today, one thing that I'd love to bring up is you are a serial entrepreneur at Spirit. Yeah. And COVID challenged every entrepreneur, especially in the fitness space.
Yeah.
How did you reinvent yourself or take advantage of that situation over the last 2 years?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think the number one lesson that I learned since COVID was how important people are.
Okay.
And I pride myself, and I'm going to, this is an honest moment. I wouldn't have gotten the opportunities that I've had in my career if I did things the wrong way. I'm in my heart, in my soul, I believe that I always have people in mind and I always treat people with respect. I'm a people person. I think that's why I was so good at my role, being one of the faces of the brand for so long, because people knew that I was about that. People knew that they can talk to me anytime. They knew that my passion was help and support and that my energy levels. I mean, there's a reason why I'm like that. It's because I want to give back. I want to help and support. And I pride myself in treating people the right way. I think the way I reinvented myself was I came in with that skill, but I think with COVID, you had to find a way to evolve that even further. Like if you thought you were good with people skills and treating, that whole thing, you need to find ways to evolve that and become and more of a people person, which I think I did, and make sure the people around you are supported, motivated, and feel like they're connected to something. You know, I mean, you see it now. Isn't it? Oh, sorry. Screen's moving. That's just me, man. I can't help it.
You're excited.
It's the electricity, dude. It's not even me. It's just the screen is responding. But now with the way things are, I mean, look what's happening. You can't staff a staff. It's incredible how things have changed. It's like, you know, I got to tell you a funny, sad story. Actually, someone told me another story that's kind of funny, but let's start with mine. So I'm hiring for a front desk. You know, I call them membership consultants because I think, you know, sales associate is a position, but I want to level it up a little bit, right? I want to give a little more respect to the position, which I believe it deserves. So membership consultants. So I was hiring for membership consultants. They're front desk positions. They handle operations. They handle sales. Big role. I do something called group interviews, and I think that's another thing for your listeners to make a note of. I think, you know, during COVID it was a little bit tough, but now things are a little bit more settled. Group interviews it's one of the best ways I've ever found to save time during recruiting. Is instead of doing one-on-ones, I do one on many. So I invite multiple applicants to one room and I interview them at the same time. I have more details on that if you want to hear about it. So, but here's how things were working during COVID or after COVID. So I do a group interview. About 4 or 5 people show up. Nice gals, nice guys, right? They come in. We have a great chat. I go over the job description. We go over compensation. We go over day in the life, have some jokes, break some ice. Great. I hired 3 out of the 5, call it. 3 out of the 5. 2 never showed up. And the 1 lasted 2 weeks. Now, the way we train wasn't that different from before. Same model. Like there's online training, there's on-site training, and we have a good system. But, and then you want to hear the crazy part? I would call and be like, hey, everything okay? What happened? Carl, I wasn't even getting callbacks. Like they would just disappear. So I can't understand. And I asked other owners and operators, I'm like, guys, am I the only one dealing with this? And I was not.
No. This
was the thing going on. So I think number one is one of the things that I learned is if it was ever about people, it's more about people. And I like to think that now things are a little bit different. I feel like people are applying more. I mean, the same ad I posted 6 months ago got 10 resumes. Now I'm getting 30. So I think the tide is turning. But boy, oh boy, my friends, if you haven't taken a step back and evaluated what your people system is, you better do it right now, because I did, and I learned some lessons.
So I can't imagine the world that you've lived in that world. But I mean, obviously you came out on top. So give me a little juice as to what you do during those interviews that has stuck, or what you really look for in those candidates.
This is the way I've always done it. And I've trained other Z's on this. And I think this is the way to do it. So you got to know who almost like when you're building a business, you have like the personas, like, hey, who's my customer? It's almost like you have to build your perfect employee. There should be a persona for your employee.
Of course.
Like what am I really looking for? And one of the things that I look for in Orangetheory or any service related business, or this doesn't have to be fitness, is what can't I train? That's the question. That's what you're hiring. That's it.
Yeah. You're
hiring what you cannot train. So right away, you can't train this. You can't train extroversion. You can't train smiling. You can't train energy. It's not that you got it or you don't, man. So here's a fun tip. If you're running a group interview, and because actually, fun fact, you can't make this up. I have one today at noon because I'm wrapping up.
Good luck, candidates.
I got 5 coming in. I have 5 confirmed. So So one of the things that I'm looking for in this role, in a membership consultant role, is extroversion. You got to be extrovert. You got to be fun. You got to be like excited. You got to be just naturally, just out there, And so here's a test that I've done, and I can nail it every time. So the first thing is an icebreaker, right? You have your group in front of you, your group around you, and you need an icebreaker. So one of the tried and true ones that I've always used is one unique thing about you. Give me one unique thing about you. You ready for this? Here's the trick. Who wants to go first?
Oh yeah, that's your person. Whoever says it is your person. You know it right out.
Whoever does this, whoever says, ooh, whoever did that already. I have my little pen and paper here. I'm like, okay, got my eye on him or her. Go ahead. Let's hear your story. So that's one way. So if extroversion is something that you need at a front desk role, customer facing position, that's an easy thing to try. The next thing that I like to do is, sometimes people show up to interviews, they might not even know what they're there for. They're like, hey, I saw the post, it looked fun, I saw the compensation, it's, sounds good, so I'm here. Oh God. So the next thing is, what I want in that role is, I want someone who, you have a beeper if I curse?
I'll beep.
I won't even say the word.
Okay.
I want people who gives a sugar. All right. I want to know that someone gives a shit. Okay. Beep. Beep. I will know if they care about why they're there with one question. Tell me what this job is in your own words. Man, if they would have had to read the job post, they would have gone to the website, they would have read the workout, they would have an idea of what we are and what we do and what the job entails. So they should be able to spin that off without a hitch, without a, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, so I think this job is, front desk, there's a lot of phone calls, there's definitely sales, the workout sounds really fun with strength, endurance, and power and heart rate based training. Like, whoa, someone did their homework. Get my pen out, my little pad, plus. So that's one and that's two. And I think if there was a third thing that I like to do in a group interview setting is, so if I know that they're extroverted, I know that they know what the job is. If they're comfortable speaking in front of other people, because if they have that unique thing because usually unique thing about you is a story. I have an awesome one. I can tell you real quickly, it'll blow your mind. But if they're good at presenting, because that's what sales is a presentation. That's what membership sales is. And I've done it for a while for a pretty cool brand. So if they can be, and another thing I notice is, do they stand up when they're speaking? Most of the time they don't. But the ones that do, they get it.
Yeah.
So they stand up, they present, the shoulders are back, and they're speaking clearly, and it's a wonderful thing to see. And man, so that makes them mature. So right away, I'll know if they're extroverted, if they give a shit about why they're there and what we're trying to do here, and are they mature enough at the presentation skills? Do they stand up when they speak? I mean, those three things. I mean, everything else is in a book. I'll teach them, the class check-in system. I'll teach them the sound system, the flips, the switches to flip, and all that. That's, you know what I mean? So I think the takeaway here, everybody, is hire what you can't train.
Yep.
And you should absolutely learn group interviews, because I've saved hundreds of hours in my career just by using that one tool.
Love it.
This is a bonus for this podcast, dude. I'm telling you, this is a killer. Many years ago, I was presenting at one of our summits, and my partner and I, at the time, my co-presenter and I, we were, because recruiting is always a big thing.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do a presentation on recruiting practices, on what to ask. And I got to tell you, there is one question that I still ask to this day. And I do bring this up in group interviews. And are you sitting down for this?
I'm sitting, I promise.
Okay. What's your brand? I'm asking you, Carl, what's your brand?
Oh, today, my brand is a brand that empowers local and enterprise businesses across the globe to understand data, to make data-driven decisions, and support their end users and their staff to being the best that they can be.
That's a pretty darn good brand, my friend. That sounds like more like a mission statement to me. A brand is what's the idea behind Carl Case? What's the brand? See, you're thinking, right?
Sure.
When I presented this, it gets people thinking, right? And I get to know what people are about. The best and I'll give you my brand. The best analogy that I can ever come up with is Nike, right? It's like, what am I talking about? So careful. So that's the logo, right? The swoosh is the logo. And what's Nike's brand?
Just do it.
No, that's not their brand. That's
clueless.
The slogan.
You got me stumped.
I got you stumped. And when you present this and you get into this conversation with people, you get people on the hot seat, which what you should be doing in an interview.
Yeah.
Nike's brand is everyone's an athlete. That's who they are at their core. You can look it up. Everyone's an athlete, and their whole world, if you think about it, revolves around that.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, they have the Jordans and the Serenas, and because when you think athlete, you think those rock stars, right?
Yeah.
But they're not making clothing and they're not building their products around just them.
Oh.
They're building their products around everyone. So if everyone's an athlete, Nike's the brand for you. If you're an athlete, which everyone is an athlete, Nike's the brand for you. And the slogan is just do it, which we all know how that worked out. So when you get into that conversation, man, and you get people thinking about, wait a minute, who am I? Like that's such a great question. Like I never thought of this. I usually get this. When I ask that, I always get the same thing. No one's ever asked me that before. Boom.
Love that.
Or you get some fun answers and you get into some good conversation.
And the athletes that Nike sells to are the women that kicked my ass in my first Orangetheory class.
That's right. Those are Nike. Those are athletes. Those are Orangetheory athletes.
Yes.
That were probably wearing Nike.
Probably for or Lululemon or one of these other hyper brands.
So, yeah. And so have some fun, Carl. So now you know we know your mission statement. We don't know your brand yet, which you'll get there. But what's your slogan?
Definitely in the hot seat, listeners. I would say, referrals, retention, and reputation.
Perfect. That's what a slogan is. Everyone needs a slogan.
Yes.
I don't care who you are, Mama 5, Mama 9, whatever, whoever you are, everyone needs a slogan. And by the way, the fun fact for everybody also, I believe everyone needs theme music. If you're walking down the street and you want people to get who you are, what theme music are you playing in your head? Or, maybe you have a boom box in your back, maybe you get a little Bluetooth speaker, whatever. What's your slogan? What's your theme music? I mean, you kind of get into a fun kind of, mental state. You got to think about, this is a fun conversation to have, because how would anybody know who you are if you don't know who you are?
Mine's The Business by Tiesto.
Love it. Love it. Know thyself.
Super. Most important thing you got is yourself.
and I'm embarrassed because I don't know who said it. I want to say like it was Socrates or someone. Darn, I'm going to embarrass myself right now.
Someone older than us.
The reference is from The Matrix, actually. Know thyself, one of my favorite movies. Know thyself, man. So know your slogan, and know your brand, know your theme music. And if someone comes into an interview and if they know themselves, man, and they nail these questions, I got to tell you, if you don't hire them, I will. How about that?
Yeah, resumes are like the most useless thing ever. Maybe you can see what talent they have on the things that you can teach, but crazy.
Okay. Carl, you have no idea what you just did. You just teed me up on something very special.
Share, please.
Unreal, dude. Here, can we get a virtual fist bump? Hire people, not paper. I am thrilled to tell you that this exact topic, I have a personal connection with, because I was hired without paper. Put things in perspective here.
Yeah.
So hire people, not paper. I did it. Another one of my most popular breakouts I've ever done in the past 7-8 years was just that. Was what is the strategy around recruiting and building a high A++ team? And now you can never hire paper, because that's exactly what it is. It's a piece of paper with some words on it. Now it'll give you a glimpse, but it won't give you the story. It'll give you a chapter. It won't give you the book. So if anybody listening to this, please quote me on this, because I have a whole breakout on it on my LinkedIn account. I put as one of my highlights in my career was this breakout, hire people, not paper. It's how to do that step by step. And group interviews is one way. That's one thing that we did. Another thing that I think is a lost art kind of on this topic is, I have one here. I'm not supposed to show this. Maybe I can just, let me do this. Can I show you something that I'm not supposed to?
I'm obviously not going to say no.
I mean, you don't care. So this is actually, this is not a proprietary thing. It's an idea that I think your listeners can take, reach out to me and you and talk about how to use this tool. Because I can give you a pen. I got to show you where the paper is, and give you a hammer. You need some nails. So it's not like just giving someone something and being like, okay, go. We can show people how to use this, but this is something I presented also, hire people, not paper. It's actually a recruiting card. Can you see that?
Yep.
Do you see what that says? It's reversed for me, but you can spin it.
Your name here. You got noticed. Now, what are you going to do about it?
And then on the back, can I get that there?
You got this for a reason. Come join us as we change lives together. Love it.
Ask me how many entrepreneurs out there have personal recruiting cards in their pocket.
None.
When do you find the best candidates?
When they come inside.
When you meet them.
Yeah.
It might not be the people who respond to a Indeed post. Think about it. Like your example, your friend at the restaurant.
Yep.
I would hire them.
Yep.
I would give them this card, be like, you know what? Hey, great job today. I noticed you, man. You're doing such a great job. You're active. You're moving around. You're smiling all the time. You're just a cool dude or cool gal. Hey, listen, I own a couple of fitness studios in town. And by the way, out of respect to the current employers, I'm not suggesting that you necessarily poach other employees, because the new thing now is this side hustle society now. Everybody wants a side hustle, right? So the way I pitched it, because out of respect to people, it's hard to find great people. So what I would say is, are you looking to supplement what you're making now? And this is more putting them in focus, not anybody else or anything else. is what can I do for them? Can we work together and not hurt your current employer? Because that's not what I'm suggesting here.
Yeah.
I'm suggesting, hey, maybe that server, maybe they only work 3 days a week. Maybe they got some extra time. Maybe they want to earn some extra income. And if the current employer is going to hold them back when they can't provide the extra income, then what does that say about them? We have to put people back in the front.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to hire robots, which that day could be coming. But right now, hey man, there's great people out there. Let's just go find them and let's take care of them.
Yeah, incentivize your staff as well so that they never they always see a path to growth, and do that in the first day of hiring so that people don't question it. No, that's awesome. Manny, this has probably been, this has been the most educational podcast I've done. I think it's amazing that we went down the path of how to promote internally and recruit. It's something that everybody struggles with.
They do. And again, as I'm leaving my studios, again, zero regrets, nothing left on the table. It's just the right time for me personally to maybe fly a little higher, spread my wings a little wider. But I have a lot of lessons that I know we don't have so much time here. And again, I don't know if we're wrapping up here, but Carl, thank you so much for putting me on this stage, man. I miss being on stage. And, I'm excited to also say that ever since I had a little bit of I had a breakout at one of my other brands that I consulted for called Senhound. Beautiful brand, great leadership team. Was grateful to be invited to their first conference. I did a breakout on sales, of course. It's near and dear to my heart. One of the things that I'm good at, Carl, that I do believe that I can, I know a thing or two, is membership sales. That was one of my assignments. And I'm excited to also say that I have a lot of those things lined up. So I have some breakouts lined up. I have some more podcasts lined up, but I love this stage. I miss having a stage because I love to share and give back, because that's what life's all about, man. Just giving back. So again, thank you for having me. And if anybody wants to get in touch with me, can I give a little plug, or you're going to put it in below?
Yeah, we're going to put in below, but go ahead and share it now.
Okay. So if you listened and you like what you heard and you want to hear more, or if I can help you along your path, anything related to membership sales, I got you. I am a pre-sale master. I've been there, done that. I can definitely help there. I was a part of the core team that was able to scale a big fitness brand from 22 to over 1,000 studios. And if you're a franchise business just getting started, it's pretty valuable to have someone who's been there, done that, who's really been there and has really done that. People can say that, but remember my story. I started from the front. Yep. Or how's that song go? Started from the bottom, now we're here. I started as a studio manager, and my path and my journey is very unique, and I don't think it's very common. And I'm very proud of my journey, but it gives me an edge that other people don't have. So I'm happy to share it and help anyone who's interested.
Thank you so much, Manny. Thank you for your insights. And for those of you that want to connect with Manny, his info will be in the podcast. And that's it for this week's episode.
Love it. Thanks, Carl. And thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you so much. That's it for this week's episode. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure to head over to our site, local-business-hacks.com, to check out the show notes and send me questions or ideas for future episodes. If you want to grow your business, just like the people you've heard from here, follow Local Business Hacks Podcast and tune in for new tips, tricks, and tactics. Until next time, thanks for listening and keep hacking.